What's going on, folks? Well, I decided to get into reloading. This is my Dillon Square Deal B progressive press that I just picked up about a week ago. I decided on a Saturday morning that I was going to start reloading my own handgun ammunition. I decided on 9mm as my caliber of choice, and I decided to order everything that I needed and go down to my local gun shop and pick the materials up and some of the tools I needed to get started. And so far, about a week later, I have put everything into operation, and I now have made my first almost 300 rounds of ammunition. So I want to talk to you today about my experience getting into reloading and how that all worked out for me, and how this Square Deal B operates. So I have it all set up here. I have it loaded with powder. I don't have any primers in it right now. I'll show you that in a minute, putting the primers into the primer tube. What I'm going to do real quick, I haven't loaded in a couple days, so I'm just going to double check my powder throw, and I'm going to make sure that I'm throwing the correct amount of powder for the load I want to make. And so I'll go ahead and do that now. I have this little powder scale here. There's all kinds of powder scales on the market. I know Dillon sells one that's like over $100. This one was 16 bucks off Amazon, and works pretty well. Comes with this little tray here, and this tray weighs around 72 grains, so 71.6. So I'm going to go ahead and tear that out. And the press came with a round, a 9mm round. The press came set up for 9mm. To change it to a different caliber, it's now 90 bucks for the conversion kit, and a few minutes of work to change it all out. But if you buy it set up for a certain caliber, it comes with this inert primed round, and I use this to measure my powder throw. And this all came pretty much set to exactly what I needed. For 9mm, I'm reloading 115 grain round nose full metal jacket bullets. These ones are from Barry's Bullets. I picked them up from Brownells. They were 25 bucks for a box of 250. So I'm going to go ahead and check this powder throw real quick and make sure that it's still set. What I have it set to right now is 6 grains. That's about 6.1 is about the max load for max powder load for this round that I'm shooting. So I'm pretty hot load. I'll go ahead and stick this in there and throw some powder. Careful, it's my first week working with this thing, so make sure I do anything. Go ahead and tear this out again, and I'll just dump my powder into my scale. So I screwed that one up a little bit, threw powder everywhere, but go ahead and dump it back in. Make sure my scale is tared out. I'll go ahead and check this right here. That looks like more accurate. So it's throwing exactly 6 grains of powder. Well, now it went down to 5.8, but we'll double check this and make sure. Check it a couple more times. Like I said, I've already loaded about 300 rounds. Now the only adjustment I had to make on this press right from the factory, well, it's saying 5.6. So we'll go ahead and tear this scale out here. again and just double check. The only adjustment I had to make from the factory was the powder throw. It initially, right out of the box, was throwing about 9-10 grains of powder, which pretty much filled the case right up. So I had to adjust that down quite a bit. So this is saying 5.8, which is fine with me. I just want to keep it under 6. 6.1 is about the max load. I'm using the Alliant powder. BE-86 was what my local gun shop recommended. That's what they had in stock. So right at 5.8. Now it's saying 6. So we're pretty close there to where we want to be. I've already double checked this a couple times. Reloading a few days ago, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'll show you how to get this inert case out of here. Show you how I load the primers. I got these CCI primers, small pistol primers, number 500, a box of 1,000. They were about 33 bucks at my local gun shop. Actually, all the materials I needed, the primers, the powder, I already have the brass. Cost me about 123 bucks to make 1,000 rounds. So here's the primers here. This is a primer flip tray. This is from Dillon. This was 21 bucks. I ordered it from Dillon because it's a metal one. It's one of the only metal ones I could find on the market. But you want to go ahead and throw the primers on the groove side. A little bit tricky. Try not to spill them here. You actually want to make sure they're all gold side up here. And if they're not, you can shake them around a little bit. Then you actually flip them over. And they should all be shiny side up now, silver side up. And what you want to do is you grab your primer pickup tube and you just go around and pop them into the pickup tube. This is 100 primers. They come in little packages of 100 at a time. And that just about fills up the pickup tube. I think I haven't gotten any more than like 105 in there at a time. So make sure I'm not knocking any over here. Loading them wrong. That's the beauty of this flip tray, is you don't have to turn them all over by hand. So this takes a couple seconds to get them all loaded into the tray, into the tube rather. So while I'm doing that, I'll talk about the reasons I wanted to get into reloading and the reasons I chose 9mm. Now, reloading experts will tell you the most money to be saved is by reloading 45 because it's more expensive to purchase the manufactured ammo. So your cost savings are a little bit more productive. I chose 9mm because I actually have more 9mm guns than anything else. And it's something I shoot a little more often. I enjoy shooting it. At this point I only have one handgun that shoots 45 and I have one handgun that shoots 40. So it wasn't really cost effective in my opinion, since I don't use too much of that ammo, to start reloading that right away. But I have the press now. I started with 9mm, but I can always switch over the calibers. If I'm tired of loading 9mm, I load a whole bunch of it and I want to load up some 45 or some 40. I can always get that kit from Dillon and swap out the calibers over to 45 or 40 or even 38 special, 357. There's a whole host of calibers that you could actually load with this press. The Square Deal B only loads handgun cartridges, straight-walled handgun cartridges, so it wouldn't work for 357 SIG, which is a neck-down cartridge, and it won't load any rifle calibers. But this works for me. It was only about 389 bucks from my local gun shop. They had it in stock, and like I said, it came set up for 9mm. So what you do now is you want to make sure all of these are tamped down in here. I use this follower rod, and you go ahead and this is a low primer alarm, and you go ahead and drop the primers in there. I make sure the tube's empty, and just put that pin back in. That pin keeps the primers from falling out when they're in there. So I'm done with that pickup tube for now. Put this primer alarm down, put the follower in, and now I'm full of primers and ready to go. So I've checked my power throw, made sure it's good, and what I'll do is I will check my first round when it comes out and make sure everything's cool and copacetic. What I have here is some brass that I've cleaned, some once fired brass that I shot and I've saved for years. Been saving my brass, and as you can see, it has a spent primer in there. So the first action this press is going to take, it's got 4 stages, is it's actually going to pop that old primer out, and that's going to fall into this little tray down here. This is actually full of spent primers. So it's going to pop into that tray down there, and that'll hold them. And so that's the first action it takes when you put that first piece of brass in and run the handle. So you hear a little sound as that popped out. Now the second thing you want to do, after that first operation of the handle, you push the handle all the way forward. That seats the primer in the round there. You pop another piece of brass in. You run that handle again. So now that action actually filled that case here, that first case, with powder. So go ahead and pop another round on. So this action here, it actually pops the old primer out, and it actually bells the mouth of the case a little bit so that it will accommodate the new bullet that's going to be put in. Station 2 over here presses the new primer in and dumps the powder in. And before I run this handle, what I want to actually do is take one of these bullets, and you just pop it on top there. It sits in there pretty nice because, like I said, the mouth of the case has been belled. And this action here will actually push that bullet in. So there, just did 3 things at once. Now it's about to do 4 things at once, and then I'll be fully operational. Stick another bullet on at station 3. And station 4 in this action is going to crimp that belled case back around the bullet so it's tight. So I'll run this again. Make sure I press the handle all the way back up to seat that new primer, and there's my first complete round. So what I want to check for here is I want to make sure that primer is completely seated, it's in there correctly. I want to make sure my case crimp is good. And one thing you can do is check the overall length of the round. That's another adjustment you can make. I have this digital caliber here I bought on Amazon. Once again, they were selling these for 40 bucks at on Dillon's website, and I picked this one up on Amazon for I think about 16 bucks. Pretty much the same thing. So what I'm measuring right there is 1.18. So my max length for this load is 1.12. So I'm pretty darn close there. So that's good to go. And the other thing you can do to check is if your case crimp is good. You can just take the barrel out of your gun, whatever gun you're going to be shooting these in, and just put this round into the barrel and make sure it fits well. And I've already done that. I've checked my crimp on this press before I made a lot of rounds. My first couple rounds I checked them and made sure they were good to go. So my rounds are going to fall in there, and we're going to fill this thing up. So I'll put a piece of brass in, put a bullet in, and we'll start cranking out the rounds. It's real important to make sure your press is mounted to a very firm table. I have a workbench here that's pretty solid. You actually have quite a bit of torque that's going on here when you're running this handle, especially pushing that old primer out seems to use a lot of torque. One thing you want to just check for, keep your eyeball on the whole time, is make sure that this there's actually powder at station 3 before you put that bullet in, because you never want to put a bullet in an empty round, because that could cause some pretty serious malfunctions if you try to fire that round. And you want to also make sure that the case didn't get somehow double charged with a double amount of powder, because obviously that could blow up a gun. What I do is I always inspect these rounds after I make a few. I put them in boxes. I just inspect each one by hand, make sure they're all okay, make sure there's no issues, make sure all the primers are seated and none of the brass is dinged up or anything. Safety is important. Speaking of safety, I'm wearing safety glasses. That's important to do in case something does go wrong. I don't want to lose my eyesight here. So Dillon says, advertises with this press, if you know what you're doing, you're pretty good at it, you can crank out 300 to 500 rounds an hour. I'm nowhere close to that yet, and I'm pretty slow. I take my time. I want to make sure I'm not making any mistakes. I have fired about 50 of these rounds that I've made. I fired them through Beretta 92F. Didn't have any issues with them. They all seem to shoot pretty well. Like I said, I'm a newcomer to the reloading world, so I want to make sure and test them out, and it's a pretty good confidence boost to shoot rounds that I've reloaded myself. So I'll go ahead and finish out this cycle here and show you a couple of other things. There's my first few rounds that I've loaded. I'll go ahead and put these into boxes. I'm a saver. I've known I wanted to get into reloading for years, so I've actually saved all the boxes that all my ammo that I bought came in. So I have these boxes ready to go. I'm pretty OCD. I've actually sorted out my brass by caliber, and then before I clean it, which I'll get into in a minute, I've sorted out, make sure there's no blemishes, and I sorted out by brand. So go ahead and check all of these and put them away. Inspect them all for the primers and the crimp, and overall make sure there's no issues with them. So what I'll show you here in a second is how I clean my cases. There's a few different ways to do it. There's sonic cleaners and wet cleaners you can use. And what I chose to go with was a vibratory cleaner. Kind of reminds me of a rock tumbler. And you use what's called a cleaning media, which you can use ground up corn cob, or you can use ground up walnut shells. So what I have now is the corn cob. That's the first thing I got. I got my case tumbler from Frankfurt Arsenal. The one they had on Dillon's website I'm sure is great, but it was a pretty penny. So from Amazon I actually ordered the Frankfurt Arsenal case cleaning kit, and it all came in this box here. Came with some corncob media. Came with the this tumbler here, vibratory tumbler, which is, I think it's a little smaller than the one that Dillon sells. Then it came with this 5-gallon bucket. It's full of the corn cob media here. And it came with this separator. So after you run the tumbler, I usually run it for a couple hours with the brass in it. Then you want to dump everything into here, and this spins it out, kind of like a salad spinner colander or something like that. Separates the media from the brass. And I have some brass polish here. Dump a few squirts of that in with the media when you dump the brass in. Got all my brass sorted out here by caliber. Got a drawer full of 9mm here. I've been saving for years. I've got a few thousand rounds there. I got 45. And I've got actually 45, and this is 40 up here. I got these shell sorters. These are pretty cool. If you shoot a few different calibers and you're policing up your brass off the range all mixed up, it's a pain in the rear end to sort them all out. So I picked up these shell sorters for I think about 35 bucks. And the 45s all come out in the first one, then the 40s, then the 9mm, and you can also get a 380 tray. So, like I said, I got into all of this for about 542 bucks. So for the press, the case cleaning stuff, the calipers, the scale, the primer flip tray. One thing I haven't picked up yet that I need to get is a bullet puller. So when I screw up and I want to recover my bullet, like for this case right here, I failed to seat the primer. So I need to pull this bullet out and start over again, save that bullet and reuse it. I actually, for 542 bucks, I was able to get into all this, the press and everything. Shopped around a little bit. So I got the scale, the calipers, the case tumbler kit was about 75 bucks on Amazon. I also got this book here from Amazon. This was about 20 bucks. Has all your specifications for all your loads. This has everything in there, instructions on how to reload and pistol and rifle rounds. My local gun shop also gave me this. This is Alliant Powder's reloading guide. So for 115 grain full metal jacketed bullet, using this BE-86 powder. My overall length I want to be 1.12 inches, and my max charge 6.1 grains. And that'll give you 1,219 feet per second. So like I said, this shell sorter kit was about 37 bucks. For a box of 250 bullets, it was about 25 bucks. The primer flip tray was 21. I actually picked up the cover from Dillon to keep the dust off my press. I keep this on it to keep it from getting too dirty. You don't want that highly technical in there. You don't want to get a bunch of junk in there. And the powder was about 20 bucks for a pound. And the primers, like I said, were about 33 bucks for 1,000. And then the brass, I've saved all of mine for years, so that's a non-factor to me. Doesn't have any cost associated with it. And all I got to do is clean it and reuse it, and I have a pretty much unlimited supply of that. I also picked up this stocked up for 1,000 rounds, 1,000 bullets here. These are also Barry's bullets in a bulk pack. 1,000 of them. This was $69.99 from Midway, USA. So I did shop around a little bit on the price and look for shipping deals and everything like that. So this is about 7 cents for a bullet, and with the powder and primer, brass is free. I'm looking about a cost of about 15 cents a round, and the best you can pretty much get it for at the store is around 21 cents a round. So I hope this helps you. A little overview of getting into reloading and checking out my setup. I'm no technical expert. There's plenty of those videos out there. So if you're looking for more in-depth, like I said, I've only been doing this about a week, but this is my setup. I hope you enjoy it, and hope you get into reloading too. It's very rewarding and fun to do. So have a great day, y'all, and look for more videos soon.